Should I announce?
You want to start?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, start.
So everybody, welcome to the meet and greet. First time we're doing the ARH studios with the crew. For the first time ever, we're gonna meet the people from ARH studios, the crew that works night and day to make these things happen for you guys.
It's Saturday, by the way.
It is Saturday, kind of our day off, which it's really rare. But we got ARH here, Spencer over there, Aaron here, and Alex here. So we're part of the crew, the 4 people that work really hard at ARH to bring
That's the first time we're meeting all together here, right? Have we been meeting all
it's
together?
like, a lot
All
of
the time at the
times,
same time?
no, because a lot of times I'm gone, or like, it's hard to meet
Yeah, last time
everybody
you
at the
knew
same
Aaron
time.
wasn't here, so.
Yeah, Aaron leaves sometimes, but it's okay.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
He's here every day.
Yeah.
Aaron is here every day, Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah.
and he works the whole freaking day from 10 to 10, most
That's part of the
every day.
basement.
Yeah, we're a small crew, so we have to concentrate our time and efforts, and we're doing this because we're getting ready for New York. New York happens to be our best show.
By the way, you
our
have to speak a
favorite.
little louder, man. Those microphones aren't
Wanna
very
start
good.
over?
No, don't start
keep
over,
going.
just.
So we're getting ready for the New York show. That's what our goal is. We do have plans for San Diego.
No, we don't have plans for San Diego.
Well, not this year. We're gonna get there.
We
So-
skipped San Diego altogether because we are going to concentrate in New York. In New York this year, we're going to have a 20 by 30 booth with 4 sides. It's going to be huge, much bigger than the one we had last year. So we decided that we could skip San Diego altogether and then go directly to New York and have a big splash.
Yeah, they're way too close together for us, and it's a lot of statues to carry around. So our best show is New York. We pretty much, I think we did a great job last year. Actually, it was just the 2 of us and some help from the family. But now, we got more. Aaron and
Well, Aaron was there too.
Aaron was
helping.
there, but we set it up.
He helped us to disassemble those things.
Yes, he did. He
Yeah.
did. Yeah, I remember that.
That's when I started my transition.
Yeah. We
Well,
were.
yeah, I spent the 4 days of the Comic Con bugging Aaron.
Yeah.
Come work with us. Come work with us.
Yeah,
come
it
work
was-
with us.
it was
You
good.
have to come.
You
You have to
know-
come. And then he said, "Well, man, okay, well, okay." I said, "No, come."
Yeah, just for that it was worth going. Just for that. But we also met a lot of cool people that we're really excited to see again, and a lot of people that ordered from us. We're excited to see them again, and so
Yeah, we will see them all again.
yeah.
So, but the idea here is that we wanted to meet all the 4 of us, and we want to talk a little bit of our experiences and what drawn us together with ARH Studios. Of course, I'm sure you all know that I started ARH Studios a long time ago in my life, and basically I have been ARH Studios for over 20 years. But ARH Studios has officially began here in the United States in 2008. In 2008, I was going through a divorce, unfortunately, in my life, and then the moment that I saw myself alone, and I decided that I had to take a direction, with my life and do something more than just being a sculptor for hire or making kits on my garage. I said, well, there has to be a change. I had been doing that for 10 years already at that time or more. And so I say, well, it is time to go official. It's time to stop making kits, stop and start something that will have a future. So in 2008, I incorporated ARH Studios in the state of Idaho, and we became a official corporation, in 2008. In 2008, I also learned how to produce in China. That was something that at that point for me it was something like, oh my gosh, how that is done. You know, I had no idea of even how to find a factory in China that produces those statues. And trust me, if you're coming from the background that I had, that, you know, a few years back I barely even speak English, it was something like overwhelming for me at that point to figure out how to find a factory in China without asking anyone, because no one came to me and taught me how to do things. No one came to me and said, Aaron, this is the path you should follow, you know, to find the things you need, so why don't you contact this person here who will give you advice? No, there was nothing like that. It was me sitting in front of a computer, you know, for hours and hours and hours and days and days and days looking online for a factory. And I didn't even know what words to do a research on Google. So it wasn't easy. But what's interesting is that, in 2008, we are now in 2015, like, 5 years? No, 7 years? 7 years later, factories contact me all the time. You know, I get offers from factories in China, and they contact us and say, hey, look, here's our company, we would like to produce for you, if, you know, for your company, you do an amazing job, and, you know, if you need anything, just contact us, and that's all the time. So it's a very fulfilling, that I remember the struggle that was to find the first factory in China, and today, you know, those factories find me. So yeah, there's a lot about my story that I unfortunately can't tell everything in one video. Maybe if we make this another 10 or 20 times, I would be able to tell everything. But I just wanted to get this introduction, because that's the idea behind this meeting, is to let you guys understand what ARH Studio is, you know, and who we are, and what we're doing together in our goals. So, as he said, we're going to, every one of us will talk a little bit now. So, the first thing I wish that each one of you, you know, guys, tell our viewers is how we met, how we got together, how we learned of each other, how you guys first heard about ARH Studios, and then tell us a little bit of how that happened, and that landed you here sitting on this chair right now. So, and I can tell a little bit about myself or the company history after we have a round. Who wants to start?
You want me to start? I'll just say.
You want to start?
Yeah. Well, I met Arham basically. I started as a collector of these statues, and my interests were as a young college student. I wasn't an artist, but I took some classes in sculpting, and I was not good at it at all. but I had this eye, like, you know, for art and sculpting, and I started. Yeah,
Sorry.
No problem. I started collecting this stuff, and you know, one thing led to another. I'd make it short. Basically, I met through some of the forums Arham, and he was one of the artists that I like his style of work, and I had a few kids commissioned that I wanted to do for my personal collection.
When did you meet me? I mean, about what?
I think it was like
It was definitely before 2008.
Yeah, you were. I want to say like a year before, not too long before then, because you were, I think, married at the time, but I didn't know you. I really didn't.
But you knew my work.
Yeah, I knew your work.
You had pieces
followed
that I have been doing since I was still in Brazil.
Yeah. I started. A lot of people probably, you guys probably know me. I'm like I don't want to say veteran collector of stuff, but I've had a collection for years. I put
Like hundreds and hundreds of statues. That's what you mean?
Yeah,
You don't want people to know that.
Well, I know people now.
Room full of statues.
Yeah, I have like a dedicated room of statues. I collected, and I put up videos for people So a lot of people that come to Comic Cons and stuff, they know me by my collection of stuff first, before they even knew I'm starting to work with ARH and ARH. But that's how we kind of met, is through the love of the collection and the love of the work we do, and what joy we get out of creating things.
So basically what you're saying, that you were a collector, you had a few of the work I was doing, and then you got interested in getting to know me.
Yeah,
because of your love for what I was doing.
Yeah, you know, the way it worked out was Bowen, one of those artists that I enjoyed collecting, and then you were right beside his, you had a lot of cool stuff out there too, but unfortunately, you were here in the US, and when I heard that you were in the US, I kind of followed up, I got in touch with you, and we became friends.
Yeah.
And then I think it was in 2000, I want to say 11, or no, it was like,
way before 2008.
Well, no, but we had this idea to like kind of join together.
Work together?
Yeah.
That was back in
San Diego.
2010, before the Comic Con in 2011.
Yeah, so it was like roughly around.
But let's not get there yet, because I remember the first thing that called my attention to Alex's was that at that point, I think back in 2007, he was just a collector and another customer. And I was doing a garage kit of a statue, and then I painted one for him, and I packed the statue in bubble wrap. Remember that?
Yeah.
Bubble wrap, even before the paint had fully dried. So when he got the statue, and he opened it and said, "Oh, look at this! The full statue is all full of bubble wrap marks on the painting." And I said, "Oh shoot, my gosh, this is a new customer, and got the piece bad done, and it was my mistake. So probably never gonna buy from me again."
I got some stuff that are like, I was always happy to get something from him, and I had like from his original sculptures. I actually have one here at the studio. But the thing is, he had his unique style, and I really liked his style, and so. But yeah, it was like it's always fun, working with, I don't know, he always has these great ideas.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment. But we got together we got together because the company was small, and he just created it.
The company was just me at the time. It was very small.
I don't know. I think he just was more looking for like sort of an investor, like an injection of cash and to get things going.
Yeah.
And also, somebody to just kind of look after things and help, and maybe bring in some attention to the work that is being done.
Let me just clarify a little bit of that at that time. What happened was, it was back in 2010, and I had just switched from traditional clay sculpture to digital sculpture. That was when the transition with the company happened. And I also had gotten an invitation from Sideshow to distribute our products. And that for me at that time was like something really special and overwhelming, and say, oh my gosh, look at the opportunity of, I was still producing those little statues, that I was sculpting myself, and Sideshow came to me and said, look, Aaron, we like your products, we would like to represent you, we would like to distribute your stuff, and so what do you say? And then I said, well, I'm sorry, but the products that I have are so bad that I don't think I could ever, let Sideshow sell my products, because I had that, always had, I still have today. I look at my products and say, oh my shit, it's so bad, so bad. Even though it's not, we look differently. We only see the defects, But it wasn't the case. The little statues were beautiful and were well done, at the time, for the technology we had at the time. So what happened was, I got this invitation from Sideshow. They were interested. I had now just switched from traditional to digital. So I said, well, Sideshow only produces most of the statues in 1/4 scale. And if my products will be distributed by Sideshow, I definitely have to do it 1/4. So I said, okay, so I'm going to get all the files of the statues that I have right now ready for printing. I wasn't printing them yet. And I'm going to print them in 1/4 scale instead of keep going with the little scale. So, but then what happened was I didn't have the money to pay the prints. Those prints, that time was the Medusa. When the Medusa was still a digital file, and I had the Medusa ready, I had the Thor ready, remember? I had the Athena ready, and Pocahontas. I had those 4 statues ready for printing, and I didn't have money to print them.
Well, it was a hard time because that time was, you were on your own and you were just getting out. I think the divorce was.
I had finally finished my divorce. I had moved to another apartment studio, and I was sleeping on the top of the studio and working on the bottom, on the first floor. And that was it. That was my life. And me, myself alone, producing all those things and managing to pay bills and and keep things going.
Yeah.
But I did not have enough money to make those prints. And that's when he came and he offered me, look, Aaron, I want to become partner with you. You sell me a few shares of the company and I'll give you the budget that you need for those prints. And
so that's
how
we
we became
our
partners.
Yeah, and I wish I had the ability to create like and I don't, but I do the best I can. But the thing is, I think what happened is that Medusa, got the attention, and that was a very big piece that got us on the map. And you guys, as collectors, you know what I'm talking about. It's a beautiful piece. It was we painted we paid Alex per Piretta, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was our main artist at the time.
At the time, he was probably the only one we were working with.
Yeah, and now he's famous. He's working for other companies, and
what is interesting is that if Alex had not come along, that Medusa would probably be 1/6 scale, because I wouldn't have the money to produce it.
Yeah, so you guys can all thank me.
Yeah, if you have a Medusa now in your house that it's worth over $2,000 on the second market, it's in part because of him.
It became a big hit, but all the credit to the artists really, because they both, Alex and Piretta and Aaron, knocked it out. But I'm gonna kind of shorten this.
Well, that's it. That was basically how we met, and we started together.
And a lot of the collectors that follow me and they got to know what I'm doing, and they're just like they're like, that's what they want. They want to be a creative, But you guys know that you see the videos, it's a lot of work. You just can't create and expect things to succeed. There's a little more failure.
Now, what is interesting is that it was at that very same time that I met Aaron. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When you contacted us the first time?
Yeah.
When we were still doing the little ones, you were one of the last guys that came to sculpt for ARH Studios on the 1/6 scale.
Yeah.
He did
Little Soldier.
He did the little soldier.
SWAT guys.
And he did King Arthur.
King Arthur, yeah. King Arthur actually was a great sculpture.
So,
he always talks really well about you. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton to you.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like we needed each other. That seems to be like how we kind of like came together twice. So like the first time, what laid the groundwork was Arham was going through all his personal mess with the divorce, and I guess that was 2008, and I had been ironically laid off from my sculpting position that I had full time, and obviously the economy was bad, all that other stuff was going on, so I really needed work, and I found Arham ARH Studios online on one of the forums, and just kind of like threw it out there like, hey, I know you're trying to grow your company, maybe we can work something out. And he gave me the opportunity to do like 3 sculpts for him initially. It was like a SWAT guy, a firefighter, and a soldier, like an Iraqi soldier,
Army soldier.
Army soldier. So I did those, and it kind of laid the groundwork. Ironically, again, I was still working in wax at the time. Part of the reason I'd been laid off is because I'd been too stubborn to pick up the digital modeling. But as time went on, so like he gave me that opportunity, and then as time went on, I saw Alex Pereira sculpting in ZBrush for him, and I thought like, well, you know, if I haven't learned my lesson now, like by now, it's time to pick up digital modeling. So I started learning ZBrush and Maya, and then I made the transition to digital modeling, and then ironically, again, I got hired back to where I had been working. And Arham and I kind of like, you know, we kept in touch like on and off for like the next like 2.5 years or so, 3 years. And, you know, just kind of like, I was watching him and I think he was watching my development as a digital artist. And then things kind of evolved from there, and then the Frazetta stuff happened.
No, you know what? There is more. There is more. It's because when you started working with me, you did those 3 fantastic statues for the, you know, for I called at that time American Real Heroes. That would be a collection that actually never happened. I only produced the SWAT guy, never produced the firefighter, never produced the army soldier, unfortunately. But I really love those pieces. And he started working, and his work was above and beyond anybody else I have ever worked with. You know, I gotta make sure to say that, because Aaron is the most professional sculptor and the most talented guy I ever worked with. And that called my attention to the potential of what we could increase in terms of quality, you know. Aaron sculpted a King Arthur 1/6 scale for me. That is one of my favorite statues of that line, because the armor on King Arthur is just perfect, you know. And he did everything by hand with wax. So that made a huge impact in me, and how talented he was, and above all, how professional he was, because he would not allow himself to deliver something that wasn't extremely perfectly done. And that makes a huge difference. And but what happened was, as I said, we transitioned from 1/6 scale to 1/4 scale, and we at the same time we transitioned from traditional sculpture to digital sculpture.
Right, and I forgot that we came back together when we sculpted the Minotaur. That was kind of like my...
Because you had then learned
Yes,
ZBrush.
right, because, and that was kind of like my re-entry into your world with ARH Studios. And then like to kind of bring us up to where we are now, the Frazetta license happened, I sculpted the Death Dealer, I've been sculpting the Barbarian for a while now, but we came back together at Comic-Con, and ironically, again, I was going through some really heavy stuff personally, including a divorce, and we hooked up at Comic-Con in 2014, and he gave me the opportunity to pack up my bags and move west, and here I am. And it was kind of like serendipity. Like I needed him, and he wanted me, and that was it. Like.
But here's one thing you left it out, we didn't explain. Why we stopped working together was because of this transition to digital. And then I said, Aaron, can you do it digital? And then he said to me, Aaron, and that's one of the things I really admire in a professional. He said, Aaron, I am learning ZBrush, but what I can do with ZBrush is not as good as what I have to deliver, or what I could do it, you know, in wax for you. So
I think I asked for like another 6 months or something.
Exactly. He said, give me time to learn digital so I can deliver you something that I consider perfect, and then we can work together. So, but that 6 months actually was more than 6 months. It was over a year until he came to me and said, I think I'm good now. I think I can deliver something, you know, of professional level. And then I said, well, okay, let me think of something for you to do. At that time, I wanted to work with Aaron so bad that I said, okay, man, do a Minotaur, just out of the blue, because we wanted a follow-up to Medusa. And I knew Minotaur wasn't a very popular character anyway. And I knew Minotaur wouldn't be a big sale because we had already produced a little one that was a total failure in terms of sales. But I wanted to work with him so bad. And I said, okay, man, I'm sure that if you sculpt a Minotaur, at least this one, it's going to sell enough to make it worth it. And then he did that Minotaur over there. That is one of the most beautiful Minotaur statues I've ever seen. You know,
It's really
so
good.
it's a real great Minotaur
Yeah,
statue.
the reception in New York was excellent, and was it 2 years ago? I think.
2013.
It was great.
And it was a good sale. That Minotaur actually,
Yeah, I mean,
sold
I gotta say,
very well.
we were very lucky to have Aaron on the team because as a lead sculptor, just lots of knowledge. I mean, I wish some of these artists out there could come in, internship or something here because they could learn so much from Aaron.
Well, a lot of it was like I learned in a lot of ways the same way that Arham did, like where you're up against the wall and there's no one there to do the work for you. So if you want to develop your career as an artist, that's the most important lesson I learned, and I know Arham learned it too, is that you have to do everything on your own and learn it every step of the way. And unfortunately, I didn't learn those lessons until I'd been laid off, because then you're trying to convince clients to hire you, and obviously the more you know, the better off you are. So you learn concepting, sculpting, mold making, casting, fabricating, painting. You have to do everything, every step of the way. And honestly, once you start doing all those different things, it makes your sculpting better because you understand the next step in the process and how the sculpture needs to break down in order to be molded and casted easily, and then digging detail in deeper so it picks up the paint. That's why I think at this point Arham and I make a good team, because we've both been there, we've done that, and learned all those techniques, all of them, every in and out of sculpting, from concepting to final prototype.
That's interesting. That's something, I don't know how many sculptors out there are able to do that, or how many artists out in the industry are able to do that. But I found in Aaron a guy that knows exactly the same set of skills that I have in a professional. I can do every single step of producing a statue by myself. I can create the design, I can sculpt the freaking statue, I can make molds, I can cast, I can finish, I can paint, I can pack, and I can sell.
Yeah.
So it's not everyone that can do that. And Aaron is a guy that learned the same set of skills. And he's good in he's ever better than me in most of them, but he's good in every single step.
And that's why not only me, but every collector out there should be excited about what is going to come out this year and the next, because it's just going to get better and better, and you can see it. The new Death Dealer 3 that we just did, it was like, it's a totally different level than what we created last year. So
Yeah, and we do have Caleb to thank for that.
Yes, Caleb, kudos. I mean, Caleb is, we sometimes these artists come along and they just like, wow, we really gotta work with these guys, and we find them. Alex was great. Caleb is another one that we just found out of the blue, and he's doing a great job.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about our work with Aaron is that after he did that Minotaur for us digital, and he said, "Oh, I am a freaking digital sculptor now. I can do anything that you possibly desire. I can do it digital." And then I came to him and said, "Man, I want to hire you to do the Death Dealer for the Frazetta, and I want you to do the Barbarian for the Frazetta." And he got all excited. "Wow, cool! I love the Frazettas, and I'm gonna do a great sculpture for you. So when can I start it?" And they say, "Look, there's just one thing. I want done it in wax."
quarter scale in wax.
Yeah. And then he said to me, "Come on, no, that's bold." That's bold, man. A horse the Death Dealer in wax. And then I say, "Man, I don't know. Do it in wax."
Well, it's interesting because to do that, you didn't have the budget to do that digitally. That's why that happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
So again, we kind of came together out of mutual need. Like I I was starting to become unhappy where I was. I was living in New Jersey. I wasn't in a very good situation. Without going into too much detail, I really wanted the opportunity to finally like establish my name as a sculptor and get away from the situation that I was in. And immediately when he contacted me about doing the Frazetta stuff, it was a golden opportunity. And that's, again, another huge part of the reason why I'm sitting here right now, because to tackle something like that in wax, I don't know many other people, it would have been crazy enough to do it.
It's, you know, when I saw the sheer size of that horse, and I say, oh my gosh, look at this. And you would look at the whole figure, at all the texture on the horse.
Yeah, it was incredible just to see that in person in New York. It was incredible.
The saddle,
I wish
the saddle of the horse with all those intricate carvings.
Yeah.
My gosh, how can you do that by hand?
I keep telling people, like, as collectors, they just kind of go by and just like not even look at their stuff sometimes, and I'm like,
Man,
you guys are gonna be blown away once you get this.
the Death Dealer skirt, that is a chainmail, he did it ring by ring.
Right, and I did it 3 times before I got it right, because I ordered those eyelets, like the little eyelets that are on your shoes, and I ordered like 2 sets of them, and they were not the right size. So every time I would do it, I'd get like a third of the way done and blow like a whole day on it. And I was working full time at the same time.
Yes.
I was doing
Yeah,
that
day
stuff.
job.
Right, so I was up
Yeah.
until 2 in the morning every single night, no weekends, which is why I'm used to this. This is like nothing new to me. But yeah, like just doing it over and over again until it looks right. Like you just can't compromise. That's the key. Like if something looks wrong, you just gotta cut it up and start
Do it
over.
again.
Yeah, this level of commitment also comes from Spencer, because Spencer's a new hire for us, and he is just so committed. He comes in early, leaves.
He's here on Saturday and he doesn't need to
Saturday.
be.
He doesn't need to be here.
Yeah,
Because-
well, nobody's being paid extra to be here on Saturday, and we are all here every
Yeah,
Saturday.
we're gonna get some introduction from Spencer and.
Well, Spencer came into ARH Studios on this new phase we started last year, because with the company I said, well, I have gone this far with the statues, and I don't think I can move any farther without laying foundations for the next step, because you don't move, you don't grow without investing, so you can inflate, I believe, oh baby, you can inflate your company without investments, but you cannot grow without investments. So I decided, it's time for me to lay the foundations for the next phase of ARH Studios, and the foundations are creating our own IPs. I've been doing this on my own for over 20 years, and I realized finally that money is in creating your own IPs, promoting your own products. I have nothing against producing a licensed statue that is a well-established character. Definitely we are producing something cool that we all love and enjoy to in a certain level. But having our own IPs, having our own characters, and building our company from the ground up and creating characters that people come to love one day, that's the base. And that's where Spencer came in.
Yeah, Spencer, and that's part of the thing, because we're doing comic books right now. I'm like, Aaron comes to me like, all of a sudden there's this comic thing he wants to do. I'm like, comics? I used to read comics when I was a little kid, and
Well, it's because
and I
you didn't have enough
I'm kind of
to
laughing. I'm like, okay, if that's your little pet,
Got bored.
that's your pet project, go with it. I'm like, okay, he didn't really, he doesn't have to ask most of the time, but he really I'm gonna do this, I wanna create this, and I'm like, well, that's gonna be kind of cool, because we got the statues, let's have a storyline with it, let's see what he does, and I've been reading him, and I'm hooked now, and Spencer comes in this, because he's actually one of our writers.
Well, the thing with comic books, before I pass it to Spencer, I want to explain that, why we made the decision to go in with the comic books. There are many ways of creating IPs, like if we use, for instance, the Frazetta statues, Those are all IPs. The Deaf Dealer is an IP. IP is an intellectual property. So those are all IPs. And because Frazetta made it famous through his work, but he never transformed those IPs into a character. So it's very difficult to give continuity to an IP if you don't make that into a story that people can follow.
Right.
So that was my idea with the comic books. I can't create Arian like I did. I created Arian as a statue, and she immediately becomes an IP because he has form, she has form, and she has characteristic of the character. But if you don't transform that into a story that people can follow, then it's very difficult to keep that thing alive.
Yes, like who is she, right?
Yeah. So exactly, we have to give her a background, a story, and make people start liking her for who she is, not only for her looks. So, and then I had this idea. Okay, I want to write comic books. I want to write stories. I have some cool ideas of stories in my mind. I think I can do some writing, and although I had never done any writing, I know I could do it. So I say, okay, I'm going to start writing my own story for Arian, and I'm going to do a comic book. Even if I have to sit my butt on a chair and draw every single page myself, that's something I haven't done in the past 25 years. That was the last time I drew something on the paper. But if I had to relearn that skill, I would. That's how committed I was. And then I started writing, and then I finished the first chapter for Arian, and it's okay. I like what I see, but who else is going to, like it? Maybe nobody else will like it. And showing it to my family wouldn't make much of a difference. My sister said, "Wow, it's beautiful, it's amazing." My father liked, my mom liked, but whoa, okay. So I need someone that is not connected to what I do, that is not my family, that understands about, writing, that can give me a fair opinion. That's where Spencer came in. So you now can let us know how we met and what our relationship is and how you got to be part of ARH Studios.
Yeah, and you should also mention like your background and your interest in writing.
And don't forget to say that your father and I were big friends.
Just came on him.
Okay, well, geez. Up till the time the Air Home contacted me, I had been writing as a hobby pretty seriously. It was on and off. I was going to school for architecture. I was maintaining several websites that I was a part of, where you write stories and you just build off of other characters. And then Airhome he sends me an email one day and says, "Hey, I know your dad. He suggested you for reviewing this script that I have." So I read through it and I gave him my ideas on it, and I guess he liked them enough, because then he came up to me later and he said, "Hey, I have another comic book idea, but I'd like to see what you do with it." And so I'm now writing the Astra storyline and helping these in the studio at the same time. I fill in all the cracks. I'm learning to make molds. I answer all the emails. I run customer service. I do sales.
Well, there is more. There is more. You're too fast there. Let's go back when And here's the thing. I'm big friends with his father, because his father is my neighbor. When we became friends, the day that his father knocked on my door and said, "Hey neighbor, you want me to help with your garden, with your lawn, because your lawn looks crap?" Yeah, I would appreciate the help. So after that, we became friends. And one day, I was having dinner at his house, at his parents' house, and it was a big family. He has like a big family, and the family was all together there. And I was talking to his father about something, totally unrelated to comic books, and he overheard, and he made a comment on the conversation. And then I look at that comment and say, "Oh my gosh, that guy is intelligent, because he caught, what I was talking about just by overhearing, and he nailed it." We were talking about a problem, and he said to me, "No, the problem is this and this and this." And I say, "Wow. This guy has something in here that it doesn't show, because, he's so quiet, he's so shy, but his mind is fast." When the person is quiet, but his mind is like very fast, that's what he is. So I got impressed with Spencer, very impressed with that comment. And when I had Arian, because that was the first script I gave him, it was ready, and I say, hey Spencer, could you read it for me? Could you just give me your honest opinion? And first off, tell me if this is how Americans would write, how, Americans read or talk, because I had this, I'm not born in the United States, so English is not my first language. So I wanted to know if the way I write is the way another American writer would do. And then a few days later he came to me and said, well, you write well, but you write like a Brazilian. Yeah, you write like Yoda. And I said, okay, what the hell does that mean?
Yoda?
Yeah, because
Yoda, what's a good Yoda?
He was putting
saying?
objects before his subjects, and so it was
Oh,
coming
right.
off really kind of funky.
Yeah, like
but then I came to him and said, okay,
you will.
show me. Yeah, I spoke too well. No, but then I came to him and said, okay, show me where is the Yoda writing here, man, because I don't see it. And then he showed me a few dialogues, and those dialogues were written like that on purpose, because I wanted to sound, because we're like a couple of bad guys that Aaron was after in the story, and so they were talking like a person with low level of culture. But even though I was doing that on purpose to sound wrong, I was doing it in the wrong way, right? I was doing wrong in the wrong way. I said, okay, so how is the wrong in the right way? So then he showed me, and I said, okay, I agree with him. I made a few changes, and then I said, okay, you want to do more? You want to read the second one? And then, that's how our relationship started.
And what are you working on, Spencer, right now?
I'm working on two actually. I'm working on Astria, which is a drama. That's my primary writing, I guess you could say. And then we're also hashing out an idea for a superhero.
We can disclose the name of that. We created a fourth character called Alexa, and Alexa is our first character that has superpowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a superpowers based in reality. We didn't come up with a super powerful alien or
Magic or fantasy.
magic, nothing like that. We said, okay, see if a human being would have super strength, super speed, or things like that, how could that be achieved? So we fought for several days, and we debated, how we could achieve something like that. And based in science and based in reality, we come up with this character called Alexa, and then he's been developing it. But Alexa is still in the first stage, right? We do it with Astra is a lot more advanced. He's writing already the third script for the third issue, and we have the lineup for another two, right?
I think, how many comics are we working on now?
We have 3 being produced.
Can you name them?
Yes, the first one is Arian, is a graphic novel with 5 chapters. Then we have Astria, that is another graphic novel with 5 chapters. Astria is a character that I created a long time ago. Actually, was the first character that I created. Actually, I created back in the beginning when I created it, when I started sculpting in my life.
I saw it actually, and I didn't buy it Astria, but I saw your sculpt. You had a website long
Long time ago.
Yeah, I used to look at the sculptures. Some of them were kind of really interesting. So
Yeah.
some of them.
But then that Astria was a concept that I had in my mind of a character, and then I put her on the burn side, the side burner, and I never actually got to her again. Then when I created Arian, what I did was I got Astria's characteristics and I passed it on to Arian. So Arian became the bounty huntress, then Astria was a bounty huntress when I created her. So when I decided, okay, to go back and redo Astria, I said, okay, so Astria can be a bounty huntress again, so we need to have a new origin for her, and we need to give her a different, story. And then we changed everything. So Astria is reborn as a different character. And the third character we have is the Queen of Empires. Her name is Arcala. And the Queen of Empires is a very, very exciting story that we are writing. You know, it is different than what you could, we normally see in terms of a vampire story, I think. It's different enough, at least.
Yeah.
Very original. But we kept all the details about what a vampire really is. You know, all the gore, all the killings, all the blood drinking, and there is also the sensuality of the
That's
character.
very adult oriented, so
It's totally adult
I would make sure
oriented.
that kids don't get all.
It's definitely a NC-17, is that it? Is that
Yeah, it's a
NC-17?
little further than that. But anyway,
Not for kids.
It's all going to be distributed through, probably distributed as Diamond Comics. Also, we have statues already kind of from these. So the Vampire Queen already has 2 statues that we've made. And
Yeah, we're
producing.
revamping it. We're going to be doing a
We're
third
gonna even
one.
do a third one. So I hope that you guys enjoy the comic that's gonna come out, and make sure you pick one up. I think we're thinking of doing some online distribution eventually.
We'll probably have some free samples online,
Yeah,
yes.
so check it out.
But there's more. There's more about Spencer. You know, Spencer came as a writer, yes, but he also came as the office manager. And I
Yes.
want you to talk about that part of your job, because you write, yes, and you're doing a great job, but you're doing just a lot more than just writing. What else are you doing here with us at ARH Studios?
Well, but basically how that happened was you had talked to me about writing for a little bit, and you also said, hey, I've got this job opening that I want to see how you doing it. And so I came in, and what it was is you needed your database, your systems organized. And so I started organizing like who we've sold the statues to, you know, if they received the statues, your email systems and stuff like that. And then after I got done organizing that, I looked around and saw that there's a bunch of other stuff that you did as well. So I just started working with some of that stuff, like molding and whatnot.
So basically, what you're saying is that you came to ARH Studios and then you finally got things on track, you know? Because if a customer would say, hey, have I paid my statue, or is this completely paid, or what? I had to spend like hours researching for that to get that information. Then I would respond to the customer, oh yeah, you have made 3 payments, there is 1 left. You know, it would take me hours to get that information. Now, when I ask anything, you know, it's on the tip of the tongue. He said, okay, that's it. Because he has tons of spreadsheets that show all the information. I can go right now to his desk and I know exactly how many statues I have sold of each character, how much profit, how much cost, how much everything. We even have a graphic that shows the sales in each character, how well they're doing. You know, if we have a weak sale, there is a strong sale, and you know, our final profit and the cost of everything. So he has transformed ARH Studios' office into something very efficient, very functional, and then just one glimpse at the numbers, we know everything.
Yeah.
I even know how much money I make now because I didn't know how much money we made before. You know, I said, okay, the bills are paid. Okay, let's keep moving. But I had no idea actually, you know, how much things were costing or making profits.
So a lot of the customer service, bookkeeping, I mean, he's got he's a jack of all trades right now at the studio, but eventually when we have more sales and grow even more, I think he's going to be the manager. You know, we'll have to have a hire for you because it's probably going to have to be a lot of work that needs to be done.
Now we finally have a newsletter that we sent out one this week. It was a test run. That newsletter looked bad, I know, but that was just a test and we were still learning how to do it. But we have it thanks to Spencer. This guy here has been working on the newsletter for 2 years. We weren't able to send one out
I'm
yet.
just so busy.
And no, you're not so busy. He came to the studio and he sat down in that chair and said, okay, I'll take care of that for you. In 2 days, he got it figured out. 2 days. We
Yeah,
got a
I mean,
newsletter out.
He's assisting. He's turning into a jack of all trades like the rest of us. He has jumped in like totally blind into mold making, and he helps me with the printer, like and he's willing to learn everything.
And that's
so.
that's part of being here is you get to do all that stuff, and that's great. I mean, I that's when I was hoping a reliable and dedicated person would be hired for this position, and I think you fit the mold well, and you have a great time doing it.
Aaron, sorry to cut you. Remember when he did that first casting on his own of Aaron's, but that with the molds were all bad? That's not, you remember my face when I was opening those molds? You remember that?
I let Spencer cast these. It's the school of hard knocks, because like you come in and work at a studio like this. Arham founded this whole thing, and we're just helping it grow. But every day, like, you want to know why we call our videos on YouTube "Slaying the Beast"? Because every day it's a battle. Yeah. Because we do so much stuff here. You're looking at 4 guys that are trying to have. We have monumental goals for New York Comic Con, and if we're going to reach those goals, every one of us has to do like 5 jobs every single day, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's not going to stop until even after Comic Con is over, because you know what? We don't have a staff of people to take all that stuff to New York for us. We're doing it ourselves. We're going to build everything.
It's a trip across.
And then we don't have anybody to pack it up for us when we're there. We're going to pack it up, drive it all back, and then after Comic Con, we got to ship everything to China. Who's going to do that? We are.
Yeah,
it's very romantic.
No,
I wouldn't say romantic. It's fun.
Spencer's learning everything.
Yes.
He nailed the office work, and sometimes he comes in the morning and says, "Oh, I don't know, my office work is done."
Right.
What else?
He jumps on other things, and he's willing to do it. And now he makes good castings.
Yeah, he made a good mold. He made Aaron's cape basically by himself, the mold. So he and you know what's interesting? Yeah, he did the mold for Aaron cape. You know what's interesting is that we are just 4, but we are willing to put all the effort that we can into this to make it work. Without thinking of, okay, am I being compensated for the next hour? This guy here puts 3-4 hours every day extra into the studio without pay. He doesn't require payment. He said, "Oh, okay, it's on mine," because he said, "You don't need to pay me the extra, that's fine. I'm doing it because I want to, because I feel part of the team, and I want to put my action."
We all believe in what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's dedication, it's belief.
Yeah,
and Aaron does the same thing too, of course.
Yes, the excitement is building up.
The time I put in here is nothing compared to what Aaron does, man. He's here before I am some days.
Part of the reason why we do what we do.
Yeah.
We like the reaction of people when they see what we do. We like them to they're pleased. They say, "Oh my gosh, I like it. Oh my gosh, I can't live without this. I want to buy it. This is a grave." That fulfills a big part of us inside. For big part of what we do. It's true. It's true.
And that's where the dedication comes in. Like, moving forward to New York Comic Con, that's what all this, it's just the next phase for ARH Studios to grow, and we've got a team now that's going to work as hard as we can, even on a personal level, to make that every single product, the comic books, the stories, the statues, even the videos, like, we're not doing this for ourselves.
I mean, we're making a fool of ourselves half of the time. It's like,
you see the struggle.
But we're doing it just to show what it takes, and it takes a lot.
Right. This is Saturday. We could be, going out, hanging out, watching movies, whatever. But this is our life. ARH Studios. This is it. And that's what it means to be dedicated. So while everyone else is asleep, we're here working our asses off to bring you these statues and the comic books and the stories, and not just cranking out product to make money. It's about making a good product that the customers are happy with from beginning to end. Even like learning the lessons that we did about packaging, like making sure that when the new statues come out, they're packed better so that the customers are happy about the way, you know, better styrofoam, less breakage.
Mistakes. Most
Yeah,
companies won't
nobody
admit
shows-
that they
nobody
foul
shows their
off.
It's not like it's like nothing to be embarrassed.
Man,
It's a battle.
It's a battle, and we want to show what it takes to make these, and I think that's what
We had just, today's Saturday of the end of a very difficult week for us. You know, this past week, and we're going to be showing in the movies, you know, what happened is we had this problem with the printer. We had to hold that printer for a whole week without using it, you know, because the temperature of the, you know, it rised, and we are over 80 now every day. And the printer just can't work above,
77.
77, you know, and so it's shutting down. So we lost 3 prints. We started the Perseus legs 3 times, and it shut down. And I said, okay, man, you know, we gotta do something.
Time to slay the beast.
Yeah, you know, the beast grows on you. You know, it's just like that. Give it a quick idea. The beast shows to you, you know, shows up and say, okay, I'm here going to devour you. And I say, okay, come, let's see who wins. And then the beast is strong, because we tried the first air conditioner there and it didn't work, and then we called the technicians to fix the air conditioner in the roof and say, okay, well, it's a $10,000 new air conditioner for you guys to pay. I say, oh shit, you know, and then the beast shows big and scary and say, okay, I'm going to devour you, I'm going to destroy everything you have built. And then he say, you know what? No, you're not. You know, and we fight back, and we fight back, and we fight back.
Yeah,
and when we're done, the beast is a little kitty.
Yeah, we went back, we bought
it's
it.
stained.
We couldn't wait. We did order the air conditioning for the building, and they couldn't do it for what, like another week and a half?
2 weeks,
2
they said.
weeks. So, you know, it's been like 80, we got up to 85 degrees in the studio. You know what? We still don't go home. We work through it because there's no excuse. We went, instead of buying a huge air conditioner to cool us, we bought it for the freaking printer. So we bought this huge, 18,000 BTU air conditioner just to cool the cabinet that the printer is in. And then when we got it here, we were looking at the box, and it was my fault. I didn't read the box at Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, and we needed a 230-volt outlet. So even that day, we lost another day of printing because we didn't have the right outlet. So what do? We got to call the electricians back the next morning. They got to put a 230-volt outlet in the floor. You know, and Arham's been back there painting. He doesn't even have proper ventilation right now to paint in. So he just like comes out, he's got his like mask on and stuff, like he can't breathe, but he doesn't stop, just keeps painting because we can't miss a beat. Every day we have to keep working no matter what's going on. So,
Well,
you know, again, we got, you know, he called the electricians back, fix the ventilation.
Yeah,
So
every
it's
day's
just,
something. Every day's
it's
something.
insane.
The reason is because we have a goal of at least 15 to 20. I don't know exactly the numbers.
We're gonna hit the
we
20.
do have a lot of cool sculptures coming out that we're gonna share within the next few months. I mean, they have to be done quickly. So
Without compromising quality.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna slay Barbarian first. We're gonna get that out of the way.
Yeah, it's coming,
And
guys.
then afterwards.
Actually, by the time this video is posted, it might be done.
Might be done, yeah.
Hopefully, it'll be done by Friday.
We just printed the head.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. We're gonna make a small, tiny adjustment on the Barbarian's nose, and we're gonna print another one, and then it's gonna be that.
Would you like to say something about what we're gonna make, or do you want to just go for that?
We just go back on the air conditioning thing, just because I want to make sure that it's clear. What happened is, even though we ordered the new air conditioner for the building, you know, to cool off everything, the company said, okay, it takes 2 weeks to build one. You know, 2 weeks to build a new air conditioner for the roof, because that's a customized unit. You can't just buy one; they have to build one. So we could. So what it means is we would have to be 2 weeks without the printer working.
Right.
And if we spend 2 weeks without the printer, we just going to miserably fail in our goal at the Comic-Con.
Right.
We
have to
can't.
be printing every single day.
We can't. We have that machine running every day, you know. So, and then Aaron and I said, okay, what the hell are we going to do for 2 weeks until we got that done?
That's why he made the Apollo 13 reference, because
Yeah.
it literally was like the rig that we have set up there. Because you can't, every single thing that you've got to tackle presents a new series of problems. And like number one is you can't just throw a window mount AC unit inside a building to cool a little compartment without venting the AC, the hot air and the carbon monoxide somewhere else. So we had to build this crazy contraption out of like
Foam and duct tape.
It's-
foam
yeah.
and duct tape and like, you know,
It's like we did was to feed a round hole, a square peg in a round hole. That's what we had to do, man. You know, and that's what we call slaying the beast. We didn't stop and sit down and say, oh my gosh, let's cry for 2 weeks and do nothing. Say, no, let's go out and let's solve the problem. No matter how big the monster looks, we're going to slay it. And we first bought a small unit. That makes no difference at all.
Yeah.
The printer shut down again with the small unit.
That was
We
me
just-
being conservative.
you know, yeah, we just had to throw that away. I said, okay, now let's go back to Lowe's and we're gonna buy the
biggest one.
the biggest air conditioner they have there,
Right.
no matter what. It was a beast,
Yeah.
18,000 BTU, and it's only for the printer. That is you know, that is like a second wife. Yeah.
Yes, it's very demanding, but it's going to help us
Demanding,
reach our
yeah, it's
goals.
high maintenance bitch.
But without it, you know, we couldn't move forward as a company because that's where, you know,
Yeah, so
gotta
we
make
have
it.
our very first printer that we got this year, and hopefully next year we'll get another one. It's a lot too of work at the same
As soon
time.
as we're done paying this one, I'll buy another one.
Yeah, so that's the goal. But we need you know, we need all of everybody's efforts and we need good sales. So we want to thank everybody for supporting us.
yes.
And with that, we should probably
If we want to talk a little bit of what we're gonna have at the Comic-Con, maybe yes. Let's give them a
okay,
little bit of
and
clue.
then we're gonna wrap it up because
Yeah.
we want it to be like 2 hours long.
Yeah, we got to get back to work.
Yeah, we gotta back to work.
So,
Okay.
so let's give them a tease of what.
I'll let Aaron tell the statues that he is sculpting himself, because here's this interesting thing. Aaron has been working with us since February here every day, and he has not, to this point, started a single sculpture of his own. And that's what I think is amazing about this guy. He has worked in every single sculpture that we are producing so far. He has worked on the Death Dealer 3, he has finished My Mermaids, he has finished our Aryan 2, he has finished, you're working on the Tarzan 2, you're fixing it?
Yeah, we had to make some tweaks to the Perseus to get it.
Oh yeah, the
ready.
Perseus, he's working on the
Yeah.
Perseus.
So,
He worked on Poseidon, and what else you doing? Well, he has tweaked Aryan 2. Yeah, he has tweaked and worked on everybody else's sculpture so far. Mine, Alex Pereira's, and other guys. But he has not yet had time to do a single one on his own.
part of that is my fault because with all the stuff I had going on, I couldn't finish the Barbarian, and we know that the Frazetta Barbarian is a piece that it demands no compromises. It's got to be like, you know, perfect basically. So every time we saw an error, and because it's in wax, you can't just go back in with your smooth brush and just, you know, 15 minutes of work and change it. It's literally. One day I'm going to compile like an entire folder of the progress photos of that thing and post them all online to show the battle that I fought and Aram guiding me and the Frazettas offering their input into it to show how that statue progressed and literally how many times I have cut that thing up and re-sculpted entire like arms and legs and, you know, made adjustments on the torso, cutting it up and twisting it this way and that. So that's been a big like thorn in my side, like trying to get that out of the way. But moving forward, the Barbarian is going to be done and out of my hair within 3 days. It's over. So at that point, moving towards Comic-Con 2015, the next one I'm going to be starting on is Medusa. And I know I've got big shoes to fill, but to be clear, like, I know that there's a lot of skepticism already going around on the internet. Oh, you know, the one that Alex did is spectacular, and I would not argue that. It's an amazing piece. But what you guys need to keep in mind is even now, the technology, just the technology, printing technology has come so far since that was printed that even if we printed Alex's Medusa again, it would be better than what it was simply because of the resolution of the printers and the ability that we have to capture more detail out of the digital files. Mm-hmm. So just that alone gives us an advantage over where we were in 2011. Now beyond that, it's on my shoulders to simply create, you know, an upgraded, pumped up version of it. So then I've got Medusa, and we're working with a really talented concept artist on a Hades on the throne with Persephone. That's going to be a big project to tackle because we've got some ideas for that to make it affordable, depending on how the customer wants to buy the statue, which we'll talk about as the statue develops. But it is going to be quarter scale. It's going to be a monstrous piece.
Okay, and what about the big news we have, the big secret or whatever you want to call it, about the Medusa that we're going to do this year, that no one has ever done, no other company has done this before, and we are going to be the first ones to do it.
Actually, I don't know.
You don't
You're
know?
putting me on the spot. I'm sure you told me, but I've got like 25 things in my head.
Well, okay.
You better announce it.
I'm going to review that then.
Yeah.
We're going to produce the Medusa in 2 different scales. Same statue, 1/4, 1/6.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
So no one will be left out. If you like what we're gonna do with the Medusa, and you can have it, you want to have it in full 1/4 scale glory, and pay more for that, you will have it.
Yeah, and that's the magic of printing. Because you know, obviously the quarter scale, the bigger it is, we can't change the fact that the bigger the statue is, obviously the more detail that you're going to get out of it. But the 3D printing has made it so that you compromise very, very little going to 1/6 scale. And that's part of the reason why we decided to do the Perseus and the monster Medusa at 1/6 scale. That guy, the artist that did that, I tip my hat to him. It's Andrei Bogomalov. I think he's an Eastern European guy. He's amazing, and the detail that he put into that thing, it's phenomenal. And we're printing it at 1/6 scale. And I feel that printing that at 1/6 scale, we're getting the same amount of detail out of that as you were with a quarter scale statue 3 years ago. So that's, it's a phenomenal piece.
And the new Medusa, that is a Medusa sculpture, not a Perseus versus Medusa, it's another different sculpture, will be printed in 2 sizes, 1/4 and 1/6.
Right.
If you want to have a small statue with a small price tag and enjoy the same sculpture in 1/6, you're gonna have it. If you want to go full glory 1/4 scale, you're gonna have it. No one has done it before. We're gonna do it because ARH Studios is known for being the first one to do many things, and then people at first criticize, and then suddenly, guess what? They come and do the same thing we're doing, just like the removable magnetic tops, that no one had done that before, and I want to make sure to tell that online, because that was my idea, my creation. People criticize me, because this is an exploitation of the female body, and this and that, you guys should be... I heard so much because every single statue has boobs showing. Yes, every single statue has boobs showing because I like boobs.
That's it. Yeah.
Man. So yeah, that was us. And now guess what? Other companies are doing the same thing, putting magnetic tops so you can see the nips.
Well, a big part of the reason that we decided to go back to the 1/6 scale is because we feel that we can do it without compromising. We're not going to lose the quality of the product going back to 1/6 scale, but we also, of course, we're all opinionated, we're artists, we're going to argue with people, but we do listen. and we read what goes on the forums, and over again, you do see people complaining about the footprints of the statue. Like, they're just too big to display, they're too tall, they're too wide, and that's why, you know, the first one that we printed for the upcoming year, the Death Dealer 3, we shrank the size of that base so much without, you know, without compromising the integrity of what's on the base, what the representation of it. And the same goes for the 1/6 scale, that we're going to offer that because we want to provide the customer with something that they can be happy with, that's not going to eat up their entire man cave.
Yeah, let's see if it works. Let's see if
Yeah,
people
I mean,
are happy. Because
we're willing to
here's the
try.
thing. Here's the thing. I don't see that one shut off.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so.
Well, we just lost one camera. You guys won't see me from this point on, but it's fine.
We got it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
we're
back
gonna
to work anyway.
Cut it anyway. So, but last thing here I'm gonna say is, with the new Medusa 1/4 and 1/6 scale, the same statue, no one has an excuse not to buy it. No one can
Unless the
complain.
bad scopes.
We're going to be catering.
Let's just say.
We're gonna be catering to every single one that wants to have
Yeah,
it.
let's just say Medusas are gonna be abound everywhere. I mean, you're gonna see them because you're not gonna miss out this time.
This Medusa, just want to finish with this statement.
It's gonna lay it out on me right now.
No, I'm gonna just finish. This Medusa will be the best ever Medusa sculpt in the world, and no one will ever attempt to beat it. No one, because Aaron has all the weight of the world in his shoulder right now. Because it's okay. We're gonna sculpt the best sculpture ever made.
Yeah, so it's like out of the frying pan into the fire. I finished the barbarian. Who did that? Clayburn Moore. Okay, so now I've got to go against like ARH's like #1 Grail statue. You know.
No, he did that with the Death Dealer. No one will ever attempt to sculpt another Death Dealer on a horse because they will be shamed by what Aaron did. No one can ever beat that statue.
Never say never.
Okay, well with that, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching. You guys, I know it takes a while to watch this stuff, but I hope you got a good insight of what we do.
Ton of work. That's
Ton of
what it
work,
is.
and hopefully we'll get enough time to do another one before the Comic-Con.
We are going to come back with this again, and we're going to tell you guys a little bit of ARH's history and everything I have.
Yeah, I'm
going.
gonna make this guy tell all of his stories because they're gonna make a movie about it one day.
Everything I've been through in my life to get to this point. I think it's an interesting, story. Some of it is interesting, others are boring, but the interesting parts I will tell you guys, and because these guys have been bugging me to tell a little about that, and but that's for the next movie.
Yeah.
For now, we're just gonna close here. It's we have work to do. We're gonna stay here at the studio working, and we'll come back with more. Okay?
Right.
So thanks for watching. It was fun. It was nice to be here, talk to you guys, and give you a little bit of our story. And we'll be back for more soon.